to come and join us today at our latest of our drawing scenes. As always, my name is Brittany Dotson, aka Embry Arts, as known throughout the web. I do comics art, a lot of requested art, a lot of comic art these days, a lot of manga-like style. As you can see through the sort of streams here, we do this every week. We come in here on Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern to do a live drawing as per request. So if you have a request to get something drawn, go ahead and leave it in our chat, and I will be glad to add it to the list. Right now, we are all the way up to February with our request list, though. So I want to give you a heads up for that. We do have a request list all the way to February of 2022. That being said, today we had a strange sort of monstrous request to draw a creature that was a princess. And normally I would show the video. I do have the approval to show the video from the person who did the video that I was used as an example, but I do not have approval from the makers of the video game. So I really can't do that. But basically this comes from Valkyrie Profile. For those who don't know, that was a game pretty much, 1990s probably, maybe 2000s, when it came out. RPG style game, and there's this one scene where the princess, and I'll bring up a picture of what she looks like here in the art. There we go. Let's bring her back up. This princess gets transformed into that creature. So let me hide the sketch here that we've done. So this princess becomes that creature in a quite kind of horrifying moment. Here's a little bit of what's overtaking from the scene. So 1999, thank you, Damien Tran. Of course, Damien Tran is the one who requested this piece. So yeah, I knew it was around 99, 2000, around that mark. It is kind of a horrifying sort of scene. I guess with it 99, it probably would it be on PlayStation 2, or would it be on PlayStation 1? Figure 1, because I think the 2 didn't come out in 2000 until 2000. I could be wrong, so it might be 1. But I know you can get the game probably even on Steam now, if you want to play it. I've not played it. I've heard a lot of people say good things about it. It's been one. I'm an RPG fan. If you've watched our gaming streams, I've played some RPGs on the streams. I'm still waiting to do Final Fantasy VI when it comes out. That was the Japanese release. The US version was released in 2000. It was on PS1. Okay. So we have this horrifying scene, and we're going to kind of recreate it. Damien Tran wants her to be smiling, cutely. So that is one of the difference here with our little creation on our sketch here. So I'm going to actually hide it. And you also requested that I change the tail a little bit, make it a little thinner, so I'm going to. I did get your message before the stream. And one of the things I wanted to do today is I wanted to sort of carry on the storytelling that we did on Thursday. Valkyrie Profile remake on PSP called Lenneth, which includes that scene. Okay, so this was on the PSP version then. Okay, so it's kind of like what Square did with some of the Final Fantasy titles. They added in other scenes and remakes. I got you. So, this is sort of what we've got to work from. This is sort of a rough sketch that I did this morning. After I've been doing some doggo walking. I've been doing quite a lot of that recently. In fact, I'm kind of exhausted because of it. Um, you hear me sipping, I'm sipping some hot cider. But I want to tell some stories while I'm working today instead of just doing some random just talk. Um, it is around Halloween. I'm going to tell some scary stories, but unlike Thursday, where I read some from the internet, I'm not going to be reading these. I'm going to be telling some stories that have been told to me in the past. Well, one's been told to me in the past, and one is based off of a dream that I had recently. Um, so the first one is going to be about the one in the past. So while I get this character going, we're going to go over the story of the Froghemoth. And actually, I'm waiting for a load before we go there. Okay. So the Froghemoth, if you're wondering, a behemoth frog. Basically, yes, a giant mutant frog man. Was a story I got told back in the day when I was a small child in Indian Guides. And those who don't know what Indian Guides was, I don't know if they still exist, but they were basically a way for bonding between father and child, particularly father and son. But I think they've recently added girls could take it as well. And it's particularly, it's like Boy Scouts, but it's a bond between parent and child. Um, and they teach things based off of the concept of, take care of nature, but you also learn things like shooting with a rifle and using a bow. And we also, the only thing I really won out of that was a canoe trip that I never actually canoed in. My older brother, and my dad did all the canoeing, and I sat in the boat. And I somehow won a badge for it. I don't know why. I won first place in a boat contest. I didn't know I was in. Um, but yeah, the story of Froghemoth derives from sort of, I think, they were trying to go with Native American concept of the story to begin. That years ago, deep in the swamps here in Virginia, I don't know why it's being so slow and sluggish. This is kind of irritating me. I'm going to close some programs here. Let's see here. But deep in the swamps of Virginia, there is or was once, basically Virginia was home to many, many Native Americans that lived throughout the areas. And one of the greatest parts of Virginia that's kind of changed over the years is the Dismal Swamp. Those who don't know, Dismal Swamp is a giant swampy land. It used to take up about a third of the entire state of Virginia. And it is probably one of the more swampy areas of the United States outside of the Everglades. The thing is it's changed over years because they've drained the swamp and land made it into land. So they've kind of destroyed the swamp a bit. But years ago, there was a story of a man who was frog gigging. And those who don't know what frog gigging is, that's where you take a spiky fork and hunt frogs. And you take them, you skewer them with a fork, and you eat them. So this man was frog gigging, came across a Native American. Native American was telling him, "You may hunt the frogs, but do not take the one marked with red spots, for it is sacred." Now the man was like, "Screw it, I'll hunt what I want." I don't care. Well, he hunted that red frog. He got it. He killed it. He made a good supper of that frog. That night, his stomach started hurting. Something didn't feel right. He kept on being like, well, maybe it was just something I ate. Before he knew it, his skin started feeling slimy and clammy. And he just kept on being like, well, you know, I am in the swamp. It's dirty, it's sludgy. Maybe I just got some mud, I'll wash it off. So he got in the water. Slime didn't come off. Muck didn't come off. His skin started becoming more translucent, rubbery. His throat felt sore. He started to go as he breathed. He started to panic at that, being like, oh crap, maybe this Native American was telling something right. Maybe I shouldn't have eaten that frog. And through that night, he kept changing. His fingers grew webs. His eyes bulged out of his head. His nose met his mouth, which continued to go down his face. Came out into a small, sort of almost beak-like form. As his eyes moved to the top of his head and his hair fell out. He was losing the chance to speak. Before long, the Native American came upon him, said, "You didn't listen. Now you will face the curse. What was once sacred now must live on within you. You must now take the mantle of the sacred frog." The man could only reply with a "Rrr." Daggum, that's a bad drawing there. Bad line drawing. I don't know why, but this is being so slow. I apologize. Here, let me close a few programs and hopefully this will speed up things. Close a few more things. Even gonna close comics that'll help memory. Might have to do some restarting of the computer, but not tonight. Not till tonight. Okay, that's moving a little bit better. The man, of course, was panicking. He had a family. He wanted to go home. He wanted the curse removed. But all he could ask was, reply in his guttural swelling of his stomach and his neck going, "Roar." By the next moonlight, he was one giant ass frog. I mean, 6'4", probably about 300 pounds. of muscle. His legs is bulged out, that tore away his pants. His arms, however, had grown skinny and bent inwards. He found himself dining on any creature he could catch with his tongue. Didn't matter. Caught deer, pigs, snakes. None of it mattered. It didn't satiate his hunger. Frightened of what he had become, he ran into the swamps, always hiding away, deep in the waters. Due to the mystical powers, he never aged. He never died. Just kept going, eating over large creatures, looking for a way to break the curse. One point in his life, Native American who showed pity on him said, "There is a way to break the curse. You must find another red-spotted frog." Find it and offer it some of your own flesh. To this day, the man has yet to find that frog. He continues to wander the swamps, searching, each night going, "Rrrr," hunting for something to satiate his hunger. He feeds upon beasts, even humans, stupid enough to wander into the swamp at night. Before you know it, the creature is on you. The frog heemeth. He's out to dine on flesh. You'll know he's coming when you hear the loud slapping of feet upon mud. Going. And before you know it, he'll be on you, making his terrible noise, his terrible cry for freedom from his curse. So that was the story I heard, and of course they did the whole campfire moment of try to scare us with the at the end. It's a children's scare story. I feel it kind of reflects the crocodile one that we told on Thursday. That wasn't really scary, in my opinion, but didn't work too well. As a scary story. There's no ongoing story of that creature. There's no sort of cryptid of a frog hemoth in the Dismal Swamp. It was just a story made up to scare kids. To my knowledge, the frogs are not sacred. I don't know. I could be wrong. Imagine that story, the Frog Hemoth one being adapted. I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, it's like I said, it was one that was told around a campfire. It was made to scare us kids before we went to bed because it's the stuff you do to a kid. Especially back in the 80s. You stood around a fire, you ate you ate marshmallows and hot dogs on the fire, and you told stupid stories like that. Um, and I was more interested around the time there was some bamboo, and bamboo grows pretty much anywhere. But it mainly grows around really nastily in water and swamps. And the campsite that we were at had a lot of bamboo. And if you put bamboo in a fire and you don't split it open, it explodes. So I was kind of that kid that wanted to watch the fire crackle and explode a bit with the bamboo. Um, Not I wasn't making bombs or explosives. I did play with fireworks as a kid. Who didn't? But I didn't really go and blow anything up for blow up sakes. And you could also do the same thing with kelp, particularly kelp with pockets in them. So if you find that kelp with sort of those air pockets, put it on a fire, it'll pop, kind of like a popcorn on a big fire. Um, the other story I have to tell is actually based off of a dream that I had actually the other night. Um, this story, first I'll talk a little bit about how I dream. I usually do not dream myself in dreams. When I tend to have dreams that involve myself, they tend to become nightmares. This was kind of one of those situations. It turned into a nightmare, um, which this time of year, going into the colder weather, I tend to have a lot of nightmares. I don't know why. Could be the fact that I've had a lot of death in the family around the winter time. Um, could be just because the cold sometimes affects your mind a bit. It's all different kinds of reasons. But I think this one would be liked more because it's a masking story. And like I said, I'm not into masking, but this had a mask story element to it. Um, so I'll tell a story a little bit here. In the story, I was walking about through shops, checking places out. Just going through and checking for oddities. Because, I always kind of like, one of the things I always like to do when I go out shopping, kind of like trying and finding those little odd things you'll find in a store. I tend to, when I go for food, I'll try and go for those weird flavors and try things out. I'm an exploratory person, even though I have a lot of food allergies. I'm willing to try something, um, at least once. And I walked into this shop, and it was one of those sort of ancient, sort of antique stores. But it was an antique costume shop. And since it was Halloween, getting around Halloween, I was like, well, let me get a costume. And I was like, oh, well, I have the money. I'll get a costume. So I'm looking about. I find this creepy witch's mask. And it's creepy because it's like the traditional old trying to think of the name. The old '80s masks, those plastic pieces of crap that you cut your tongue on the damn mouth hole. But this one looked old and ancient. And silly me, I mean, I'm just trying it on around there. In the dream, I'm like, whatever. It's like, let me try it on. Nothing happens. I was like, okay. Like, that's nothing. So then I go and try on another costume, and another costume, and another costume. Pretty soon, before I know it, there are other versions of me, each wearing the costumes I've tried on. Mirrors reflecting upon mirrors. But they're all versions of me. And the witch mask one is the one in charge. It wants me to be skinned into a mask. Now, I have no fear of being filleted. It's not. I don't fear sharp things. I don't mind being cut and carved. I've been stabbed before by myself by accident. So those who wonder is like, oh no, you've been stabbed. I accidentally stabbed my own hand. It literally, I was cutting cardboard. The knife bounced back and lodged itself into my left hand, um, into my palm. It wasn't much, but I mean, it was enough to be like, oh crap, I have a knife in me, because it was still stuck in there. uh, but it wasn't too bad. The cut wasn't bad, so I'm not afraid of knives. I of course I'm a competent cook, even though I don't cook for a living. I know how to know my way around the kitchen. I know my way around knives. How to use them appropriately and cut. But being filleted, having your skin carved away from your own muscle, it's a bit creepy. And throughout the dream, I'm watching my own skin be carved off of my face, and made into a fleshy mask. And it's like, that's horribly disturbing. And it's myself doing it to me. And I don't know what this dream is about. I know it's kind of, I'm trying to do it as a story, but it's I'm trying to remember it at the same time as I tell it. At least with the Froghemoth, I remember the story. But with this one, it's just that creepy sort of carving of the flesh off the body, to where you're just muscle, fat, and bone, um, underneath, but you're still alive. I know I've seen horror stories where that happens. Um, and I mean, you can live without your flesh. I mean, it's not going to be great. You're going to scab and you're going to be one big pusful thing, but I mean, you can technically live without your flesh. You'll be very, very exposed to disease and infection, because your flesh protects you, but you can live without it. And the reason I sort of wanted to tell this is I heard a story years ago about a man with no face, and he had his face carved off. Just sort of the same way. But it was carved off as a warning. I think it occurred think the story occurs somewhere in the probably the beginning of the 1900s, where this man he wronged some people, or he pissed off the wrong people, and they carved off his face. They left him alive, but they carved off the face. He had no eyelids, he had no ears, no nose, no lips. His face was just completely exposed. And he had to have it bandaged all the time. He had to constantly water his eyes so they wouldn't burn. And I think the mob was the one that did it, to be honest. And he lived on for, I think, like 30, 40 years. But he was this horrible, scary individual that people feared him. And this is based off a true story from what I've heard. And just the idea of living your life with your face just carved away is just, ugh. And I think that's part of the reason why I've heard that story. And of course, I like I said in the past, I'm not into the masking that a lot of people are, that request art from me. I'm of that mindset that dolls creep me out. My mom has a huge collection of China dolls, and I'm creeped out about them. We are, in fact, my brother's creeped out about them too, and we are in agreement that while we inherit those dolls are going away right after her passing. We aren't keeping those things around. They're creepy as hell. We will not keep those dolls. I don't know why I'm switching to the comic. Yeah, you guys get to preview of what I've been working on this week. Dolls creep me out, and I think that's the reason why masks, particularly the masking community's request for masks, and what I've seen, they creep me out. And it's that lifeless face. I think that's why when I do the masking, I try to put life into those faces. I don't like, and this is odd because I follow a masking comic that's done by another artist, and I follow the artist, and it's one of the few patrons I give to, and that's Masking 21. I think it's Masking 21. Because I like the story, and the face is supposed to be natural once the mask's on. I don't like this sort of, and I mean this princess kind of creeps me out. Her face, to me, it's not cute. It's creepy, or at least this drawing of her, and it's that Victorian doll look. But in the case of masking, I know a lot of it's anime. A lot of people do the anime. I don't want to see a 2D waifu in real life. If there were such a thing of them being in real life, I don't want to see them in real life. The idea is creepy. The eyes and what was it? Alita. I could get away with it. I mean, they weren't too disturbing, but they were still disturbing a little bit. The big-eyed children kind of disturbing still. So I mean, I don't think I'd ever be like, oh well, I want my 2D waifu or 2D husbando. No, no, no. Uh, they can stay in their 2D world. I'm fine with that. Um, Kind of reflective of the final story we did on Thursday, where we did the story of a person's drawing that came to life and haunted them. Um, I do not want to see one of my characters coming to life. She's got a rather small mouth, so I've got to do a cute smile on a very small, pouty mouth. Um, we'll give her an ooh woo mouth. Um, but yeah, I mean, others may be into it. I mean, I'm also not into the furries. I enjoy the art that people do of furries. I'm not into it. At one point, I was talking about rooming with a person who was not only into furries but made furry costumes. The only reason I didn't was because there's literally it was like a 10 by 10 room was available in the whole place, and I still would have had to share it with furry costumes. And I was like, no, no, I couldn't fit my stuff in there. I couldn't fit a desk in there. All I could put in there was my bed. I couldn't even put a dresser. Uh, and I have a lot of clothes. I have a lot of clothes. I need to get rid of a bunch of clothes. But yeah, I mean, she was a furry. I had no problem with her being a furry. But it would have creeped me the hell out. I would not have been able to sleep in that room if there was a furry costume looking over me, because I'd be afraid the damn thing come to life and kill me. Uh, Now, most of my nightmares tend to be snakes. I am terrified of snakes. Uh, with logic and reason. It's not like I'm just like, oh, one day I'm completely just scared of snakes for no given reason. Middle school traumatized me with snakes. I used to love snakes. And back in middle school, we had biology. And in biology class, they brought in a person who wanted to show snakes. And they brought in a 15-foot Burmese python. Now, I'm going to flat out say from the get go, Burmese pythons are regularly not harmful. Big, suckers like that, a little bit harmful. But they brought in this giant ass Burmese python, and they wanted us to line up 3 by 3 to have the snake on our shoulders. I got paired up with two girls that refused to stand there and do it. And they felt, okay, well, here's this almost 6 foot person, guy at the time, because I am trans. They're like, well, let's have them hold on to the snake while we talk. So they let the snake stay on me. While they talked, the snake started choking me. They paid no attention. So, needless to say, I have a fear of snakes for good reason. Because I was left alone while the snake choked me to death, and they talked. And they're like, oh, well, she's just loving you. It was like, no. My throat was closed. I wasn't breathing. That's not loving, that's strangling. There is a difference, ladies and gentlemen. If your lovemaking involves that kind of play, once breathing is blocked, it is not lovemaking, it is strangulation. Um, I feel this kind of pose kind of reminds me of Where the Wild Things Are. Max and Where the Wild Things Are. For those who have not read the book, it is a children's tale that made no sense to me as a child because Max is a complete and total bastard in many ways than one. And in that book, he really needed to get up ass beaten, but he never gets it. He never gets it. The monsters throw him a party. He has a good time, and then he goes back home. The end. He doesn't learn his. There's no lesson. He's just a brat and continues to be a brat. In fact, he got sent up to his room, and that's when he went and ran away to the Monster Island, as recall. But he continued to be a brat. Never really learns his lesson. That was my childhood book. So you've read it too. You ever felt he learned one of them? You ever felt like he learned his lesson? Because I don't recall him ever learning anything from that book. I mean, the book was beautifully drawn. It was drawn by Sandek, and Sandek does some amazing art in that book. But I think it was simply because it was a Sandek book that people loved it, and that there's no story to it. I don't even think the movie has story. In fact, wasn't it the last of Gandolfini's last role? James Gandolfini, of course, infamous as the original Tony Soprano. I rest in peace. And I hear his son did an amazing job playing his dad's role. In the remake, I have not seen, or the prequel story that occurred on HBO Max. I have not seen it. I don't have HBO Max, so I have not been able to check it out. I did like The Sopranos. I think this has got another pair of wings. Let me pull this up again before I do that. I think he does have 2 pairs of wings. Yes, he does. Okay, so he's got 6 pair. So let's do. Wrong one there. Let's add some more wings here to his back. I also noticed today as I went to walk Doggo. Her name's Freya, by the way, for those who don't know. Big old Great Pyrenees dog that I walked. That's my brother's dog. She's friendly, but she's not friendly to other dogs. So she's a handful. And if you don't know what a Great Pyrenees is, it is big dog. She's got about only 100 pounds less than me, and I'm almost. I don't want to say my weight, but she's over 100 and some pounds. But and she reaches for about 3. She's 3 feet in height on her foreleg or on all fours, and when she sits up, she can sit up to. Gives me hugs. She literally gets on her hind legs and gives me hugs when she sees me. And I mean it's sweet, but at the same time, one of our Christmases about 2 years ago, she got up, or she didn't have to get up. She just stood a little bit up on her hind legs and got the Christmas ham. So we lost Christmas dinner to the dog about 2 years ago, because she got a hold of it and, well, no one was watching her. Big dog, big appetite, not very friendly towards other dogs. She's very protective of the people she loves. And because of that, she is a handful to walk. Uh, so, I mean, I've walked her 3 times today. She's now overly exhausted and sleeping. Um, and while I'm more of a cat person, I also have dog allergies to dogs. I love dogs. I mean, I don't think I've met a dog that's not been sweet when they can be. Um, I'm more afraid of Doberman Pinschers than I am of pit bulls. Because every pit bull I've met has been a sweetie. They absolutely will just come and love you. I mean, that's all they just want love. Um, and I mean, I don't hate on dogs. I don't hate on cats. I don't hate on. Only thing I hate, snakes. Snakes. Do not get me a near snake. Um, my last job, I had to deliver auto parts. One of the places I had to deliver to had a snake, and they would tease me. They would pull the damn thing out of the cage. I'm like, nope, I'm gone. Here's your parts. I'll sign for you. I'm gone. I am not hanging around with that thing around. Uh, I've told people, you want to see me exit a place fast, you put a snake out. Um, I get the importance of snakes. I just do not like them. Um, I mean, I understand the ego of life, but I feel the world would be better without snakes. I really do. Mind you, they eat rodents, so I can't argue. Let's start adding some color to this guy. And we'll give her some lashes as well. I'm kind of working a larger than normal tip on this because of I was having the glitch, but also because I've kind of been when I'm working in the smaller on the strip that you guys saw. So I'll go back to the strip. When I'm working in this strip, it's a very thin, small page. So this page is probably, if I zoom out to the size of this page, it's probably about from here to there in size. So drawing this, I have to use a very small tip. And I actually draw it in pencil. So when I draw the characters in there, I have to go and pretty much do it freehand. If I do some background, which I'm going to do background later in that, a lot of that's done freehand. It's done at the smallest tips, the smallest sizes. Uh, Normally I do, like I said, with Demon Blade, I tend to do a 20 tip pen. And for those who are wondering, this is the tips. You like the initial smile, but her mouth is small. She's small. She's got a small mouth. You don't want the uwu mouth. All right, we'll give her a bigger smile. Give her a bigger smile. So you're referring to the. I mean, she even has a small mouth in there. I mean, there's the picture. She even has kind of a small mouth there. I haven't seen one where she's smiling though. I mean, I've all I get is this horrific transformation scene, um, where she becomes this ghoul. Um, I did watch a bit more of the video this morning to get an idea of what happened and why it was she gets changed. I'm not going to spoil it for people. Play the game. I'm guessing since it's part 2 of, that it's probably not even midway through the game, but I could be wrong. Uh, that it occurs. Uh, I don't know. When I watch horror stuff, I tend to watch ghost hunting shows. I admit that is one of the things. In fact, I will give people a hint of something that's going to happen on our gaming stream next week. The Minecraft game. We have a house. We have a house. We have a place. We have a start. If you all watched Wednesday's horribly cursed game stream, we failed to get Stone Block running. We failed to get Rogue running. So we tried a different mod, or we tried to play just the game straight. I've added some mods since, and I'm playing fine. But the stream, with the stream, it didn't work too well. And we finally, it took us 2 hours to find a house, or a place for a house. I wanted to do it around a village. We didn't find a village for hours. And when I found a village, we built the house. We got started. We built the house, and right before I cut the stream, a creeper blew us up and blew up the bed. So we lost the house. We lost where we were because we didn't have a map at that point. We have not been able to establish anything. So I created a whole new world, added some mods. I'm going to add some more mods as we go. And this time, if that incident occurs, we don't have to worry because the house is built near the spawn point, the original spawn point. So the original spawn point is literally outside of this village that I found, and it's kind of a unique setup. We'll be able to play through the concept of caves which was one of the things they added in the last update for Minecraft. These huge elaborate cave systems. So we have some giant caves nearby to explore. Actually, I probably should keep that up so I can get the colors for her face going. So yeah, Minecraft, we're not going to be starting out from scratch like we've done for the last 2 Minecraft streams. So we're finally going to be able to do something in the game that's a bit more adventurous, a little bit more exploratory. Right now, all I have is Pam's Crafts, where the extended foods, but I'm going to be adding a couple others. I definitely want to add Twilight Forest because it is an adventure edition. But yeah, I mean, we won't be starting off from scratch from that game. Now, that being said, yesterday we tried to do Fallout, and I had a family emergency to come up, so we didn't really do that. I don't know how much longer I can continue with Fallout, and part of that is down to just the lag that we've been facing. I can have everything closed except for the stream and Fallout, and it still lags like crazy and crashes like crazy to where it's becoming impossible to keep playing. I wanted to play it through the end, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to on that stream. We will try. I probably will not be able to keep doing Nuka World, though. Nuka World definitely seems the glitchiest. It glitched a lot when I played the damn thing off stream. just to try and get out of Nuka World. And it glitched. Couple things coming through. Let's see here. Of course, we're gonna have the Drawtober. The final image, the one I personally suggested, comes out literally in 4 hours. Well, no, 3 hours at this point. We're light blue. Okay. Well, I'll make them light blue. We're just gonna go with the dark purple for the shadow. We'll work our way out through the light blue. As we're gonna also make her hair lighter because her hair is definitely yellow to blonde. But this is a good dark point, so we'll work our way out from it. For Patreon sponsors and all that, I've got to do Princess Pets, which is somewhat furry, Kingdom Hearts-esque comic this weekend. I don't know if it'll be done tomorrow or not. The only reason I'm saying that is I haven't started on it. And with me having to take care of Doggo in the morning and being exhausted as hell, I've not been sleeping, I may not be done until Monday on that. I'm going to try and get it done beforehand, but we will see. Alright, the creature's skin is almost the same red as the lips. I think there's going to be some openings for us to deal with. Oh no, actually, it went pretty well. We didn't have any openings. Alright. Wing there, little wing there, wing there. But yeah, I mean, I hope people enjoy the humor in and what releases tonight with the Drawtober finale. I know a lot of people are questioning, like, what is it? What is it? It's a bit of humor. There's a bit of humor in it. It is not my character. It is a original anime character. Well, I guess it does have other places. I think it started out as a light novel series, but the character's origins is not my own. Those wings were just spikes. The details under them are not in the scene. Okay, so they're just spikes. Reason I say that is they looked like, let's see here, I pulled up another one. I grabbed a scene from the game here after where they're fighting it, and it looks like there's fleshy wing. Oh wait, I see what it is. I see what it is. It's bat wings, but it's torn skin. I see. I see. I see. I see. I see how it's done. I see. It's kind of hard to get a full image of this thing in that video, and it's because they block it with the characters. And it's a nicely done CGI moment from whenever they did the remake. I should have guessed this was from a remake because the CGI from 1999 is not that great if you look at what came out with CGI in 1999. I think the best was probably The Matrix, and even that has, there are points of weakness in the original Matrix that you can be like, yeah, that doesn't look great CGI wise. So they're supposed to be bat-like wings that only have a little bit of flesh left on them. I got too much open that I can't see them. Line. Okay. I do need to work some more on Demon Blade this week to try and get those 2 pages. That's part of the reason why there wasn't a Demon Blade this week, is I wanted to do 2 pages. We are getting to the enemy reveal, which is going to be comedic for this chapter. Spikes are a lot thicker. Well, I'm not going to go back and do the spikes at this point. They're supposed to be bat wings. From what I can see, they're supposed to be bat-like wings. That one, the top one is supposed to be thicker. Here, let me thicken that one up. The bottom ones don't look thick. The bottom ones look thin. Because they're supposed to be bony protrusions. I get what they were trying to go with there, and then they went with a kind of generic demon look for this creature. And there's a very, very generic look to a demon. Yeah, we'll just fatten that one up a little bit on that side. Let's see here. Why do I keep going to that image? I don't know why I keep going to that image, because I keep thinking there's another image for me to choose from there. I'm so used to doing that with comics. Let's finish doing her face as best we can here. So let's remove that. Let's get her hair going. Today, while I was walking the dog, I already saw and I ran into people trick-or-treating. Now, I get that Halloween this year is on Sunday. And some people are like, well, it's a work day, school day, Sunday night, or school night for Sunday night. So maybe we want to take our kids out trick-or-treating. But you go door to door on Saturday, people aren't expecting it. I literally had to tell some kids, I was like, I don't have candy. 1, this isn't my place. And 2, I don't have candy on me. I do have candy here. And, I'll be happily to give it to any kid that walks up to my apartment door. Because I'm on the top floor of an apartment complex, and they ain't willing to walk it. I ain't willing to walk it half the damn time. And if they're willing to walk up here, I'll give them some candy. I'll be like, yeah, here you go, kid. You took the challenge. You made the effort. half be willing to find some full size candy bars and give them to somebody and be like, hey, you made the effort to walk up those stairs. Here you go. But trick or treating's kind of fallen out over the years. I know they do a lot of trunk or treating these days. I've seen a lot of families on Facebook people I know take their kids out trunk or treating because they don't feel it's safe. And I never quite got that concept. The one incident of candy poisoning ever in recorded history was a father to his own child, um, which is the basis of Candyman. Not the movie Candyman, but well, in a sense, it's the basis of the movie Candyman. Um, Although that story is also a bit based off of the Bunny Man here of Virginia. I don't know the story too well of the Bunny Man. Um, those who don't know the story, it happened in Fredericksburg area. Um, there used to be a insane asylum up in around Fredericksburg area, and there was an escapee that ran out. I think it was in the 40s to 50s, maybe even before then. It ran out in the woods, escaped there from the mental institution, and they chased after him, and they never found the man, and they would just keep finding carcasses after carcasses of rabbits around, which is where they gave him the name the Bunny Man. So they felt he was still out there, and then a couple of weeks later, they found a bunch of kids killed on the bridge. And if you look up Fredericksburg, Virginia, Bunny Man Bridge, you'll get this full story. But the whole concept of, in the Candyman movies, they do the whole Bloody Mary thing where they talk in the mirror, they say Candyman, Candyman, Candyman. That's based off of a little bit of Bloody Mary the game Bloody Mary, and the Bunny Man, because it said if you say the Bunny Man's name 3 times, he'll come and kill you. He'll come and hang you on the Bunny Man Bridge. It's a story I know of Virginia. I don't know it too well because I'm not of that area. It's a bit north from where I've grown up. Here in Virginia, in the central Virginia, we have another story. And I'll tell this story. I do know a bit more. It's called the Richmond Vampire. Back in 1912, we used to have a train tunnel on what is called Church Hill here in Richmond. For those who don't know, Richmond, Virginia is infamous for many places of Civil War, Revolutionary War. Right on top of Church Hill is St. John's Church, which is a very infamous place. If you've ever heard the story of Patrick Henry and his speech of "Give me liberty or give me death," that occurred at St. John's Church on Church Hill. So underneath Church Hill, there was a train tunnel. And about 1912, it collapsed and killed, with a train inside it, and killed multiple people. And as they dug away at that tunnel to bring out people, it said one night they chased a man that was in the tunnel from one side of town to the other. They chased him into the infamous Hollywood Cemetery, and it's called Hollywood Cemetery because of all the famous people that are dead there. I think there's like 4 presidents that have been dead there, because Virginia's had some of the largest amount of presidents in the United States. And so they chased him to a monastery, where I believe the name was, I think it was Brooks, and they claimed they saw the man with blood around his mouth, and he had eaten off the dead corpses in the train tunnel. They chased him. They went to the thing, and they found that he's been staying in this monastery, but they couldn't find the man in the monastery, so they since dubbed it the Richmond Vampire case. Very interesting, creepy case. Um, Ghost story wise, we have the more infamous. We have the Gray Lady of the Capitol building. Um, the Capitol having been built by Thomas Jefferson himself, designed and built. And there's a story of a maid there who died, and she used to wear gray clothing, so they call her the Gray Lady. I don't know why I'm doing that. Let's do this. We'll do something different there. But yeah, they say you can see her at night with a candlelight right outside the window, like one of the windows of the governor's mansion. Um, Same kind of story that you get at a lot of places. Typical ghost stories, like. And I'm kind of upset because I did miss. There was a ghost stream right after the Wednesday stream I did. Well, actually, right at 6 on the Wednesday stream, but because of technical difficulties, I missed it. We went longer on the stream, so I missed the city tour of ghosts stream I was going to catch. So I mean, it's something interesting. It's something creepy, and I mean, it's the time of year. Tell those creepy stories. I mean, I know tomorrow night I'll probably sit down and watch something creepy. Probably some more ghost hunting shows. I mean, to give an idea of how long that Minecraft, the work I did on Minecraft, uh, for Wednesday stream was, after the stream I kept playing, and I was taking, which I mean we ended the stream at 7. I kept playing until about 3 in the morning, and I had ghost hunting shows streaming while I was doing it. Not even good ghost hunter shows, bad ghost hunter shows. I mean, horrible. I love Discovery Plus. I mean, it's a great stream service, but there are way too many bad ghost hunting shows on there. And I mean, I get a lot of use out of Discovery Plus. If you guys are into baking or cooking or adventure, history, that kind of stuff, I mean that's that's a app for you. And I mean that was an absolute in for me because when I'm not watching anime, I'm watching that crap. I occasionally watch movies, but I will watch ghost shows a lot, or cooking shows a lot. I know they also have the house shows, the house building shows. I know some people love those, but for me, I really don't care on those. I think the idea is cool and all, but it's not my bag. Uh, let's hide our princess for a second here. Let's bring the demon up a bit so I can get some of this tonal change here on their body. let's let's add some ridge to that chest of theirs. These are some like rock hard abs. I mean, they're made of rock, it looks like. Typically, when you do muscle, it's a good idea to kind of accentuate the muscle, show off. I mean, in this case, it's more than exaggerated. I mean, he looks like he has rock protrusions for abs. I don't know why I'm going for the eraser. We actually want to go with the red here. I don't like that line right there. And yeah, you can sort of see the fleshy part right here of the wing, because they are wings; they're not just spikes. Um, it's the typical demon drawn. If you want to draw sort of dragon like demon, you draw something like this. I can't tell you how many times I've seen something like that in a D&D style book or something like that, drawn out. Imagine if Selena was in Smash Brothers game, her ghoul form would be her final smash, attacking whoever. I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, pretty much anybody can be in Smash these days. I mean, given copyright, but if nothing, the last couple characters showed us. I mean, we can't. I don't think we're gonna get Goku in Smash. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, we want Goku in Smash." Goku's not going to go in Smash. Ask away. You're not gonna get Goku in Smash. You're not gonna get any anime character in Smash. Um, Outside of a Nintendo or video game based character that became an anime. Uh, I mean, if I were gonna bet on anybody they'd introduce in the next Smash game, it'd probably be Master Chief. I don't get why they haven't put Waluigi in. Um, I know that a lot of people joked about it, but I mean at the same time, he's kind of like the one bastard of the Mario Wario lineup uh, that keeps getting ignored by Smash. And I don't know. I guess, yeah, his Smash could be based off of his tennis game, but I mean that's the only time he plays a game is Mario Tennis and golf. I think he is in Mario Golf, but he never really shows up in any other games. Um, I I don't have all the characters in Smash. I do have Smash on my computer, or on my Switch. I do think I have the first DLC for Smash, but I don't think I have the second DLC. Um, so I don't have this next batch. Um, or this current batch. And at the same time, I'm like, okay, I mean, yeah, Sora makes sense to me in the game. He does. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm not surprised they forcefully eliminated any Disney reference, because Disney properties are not going to make it to Smash. They will never, even if they do like every character's in the game again. Um, there you will not see Disney property attached to Sora. Um, even though they have Final Fantasy or Square Enix's approval, Disney, the only thing they have of Disney in that game is the Mickey logo on the keychain, and they probably had to fight tooth and nail to get that. Um, so we're not gonna be seeing Disney too much Disney in Smash in the future, and I don't think we're gonna see too much in the way of anime in the future. I mean, yeah, we could probably see Valkyrie profile, maybe. Um, it's a long shot. Valkyrie profile is kind of like one of those RPGs that kind of get ignored. It's like the Suikoden. I love Suikoden series, but you're not gonna see it again. You're not. It's dead. Um, maybe somebody will in the future come around and be like, "Oh, this was a really great franchise. Why don't we bring it back?" They might try and bring it back, but I don't think they're gonna bring it back. Um, Square Enix is far more interested in less in multiple characters and more in this sort of prettiness of making an RPG. I hate to say it. I I I don't think they're gonna do much more in the way of anime like RPGs. Um, I think the best we get is something from Atlas. If you wanted to go for an anime like RPG, um, so yeah, I don't think we're gonna see too much. And we're not going to see it. I don't know who did Valkyrie Profile. Who was the company that released it? Was it Square, or was it Atlas, or was it some other company? Um, so it was Square. Okay. I mean, they may do a re-release of it again, but I mean, they have a. it's been a tooth pull to get Final Fantasy on some of the platforms, and they kind of want to redo everything of them, which is why I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to do with 6. The artwork they've shown, I'm not happy um, with the 6 re-release. 6 is, of course, my favorite out of the Final Fantasy franchise. I love 7. 7's great. I played the remake. The remake's good, not great. Lenneth is on mobile device. Okay. I mean, they're happy to do mobile releases to make more money, so I don't disagree with that concept. But that's an easy port for them. Doing a re-release, doing sort of what they're doing with 7 ain't gonna happen. I mean, they technically have the Suikoden franchise, and they won't do it. They won't re-release it. I don't know why they won't release it. I know one of the most valuable games out there is Suikoden 2. So I don't know why they don't release those. I mean, a lot of people, I guess, didn't really give those games a chance. I love the idea. You have 108 characters, but you don't really use all 108. But they build up a town, or they build up a scenario for you to be more powerful. I loved that idea with Suikoden. But I mean, they did re-release the Secret of Mana, but I mean, Secret of Mana has always had a cult following. Ever since the original release, they've been releasing the Secret of Mana games, which aren't that great. 1 is good. Everything else has kind of been like just eh. And I mean, they don't give Chrono Trigger much love, which is weird. Chrono Trigger was an amazing game. Just a flat out amazing game. And I mean, the fact that you have Toriyama being the artist on that, which has the fan base of Dragon Ball fans. But I mean, the fact that they just continuously just kind of poo-poo that franchise just is really weird. Now, given Cross sucked, in my opinion. A lot of people give Cross a lovely Break. Cross is really good. Cross was boring. Cross was boring. I don't think people realize how boring it was of a game. It was not as exciting as Chrono. Or not Cross. What was it? What's the second game? Was it Cross? Yeah, it was Cross. Chrono Cross. Yeah, Chrono Cross is. I would look forward to Chrono Cross when it was first announced. I worked at GameStop when it was coming out. Well, an offshoot of GameStop when it was first coming out, and that was the game I was looking forward to play. And when it came out, I was just disheartened. I was like, okay, yeah, it's all right, but I mean, they tried to make it too much like a Suikoden game, where you had so many characters that you just didn't give a shit about. And the fun of Chrono Trigger was you could do so many things with the Plus game. There was so many endings to that game that relied on, well, you didn't do this, or you did this at this point. You fought Lavatar at this point. And I mean, at the same time, it's just annoying how Cross just kind of poo-pooed that whole thing. I'm going to do some blending here with this. Um, okay. I mean, there's a couple of games that I was surprised Radiant Story came back. I think they're working though. I think they're going on the concept. From what I've heard of rumors, they're going to do Tactics again, Final Fantasy Tactics, which was good. I like Tactics. It was a very good game. And they're doing a remake of that. In a way, if Atlas wants to do their versions, they could do Ogre Tactics, which, in my opinion, was a superior game to Final Fantasy Tactics. And maybe that's the next scenario, going back to the Tactics games. Franchises. And I wouldn't be surprised to see if we get some of those kind of games coming down the line. And it's always hard to kind of tell where hits and misses of games are going to be franchise-wise these days. See if people love or hate these old games that get remade. And there's some safe bets with video games. I mean, 7 was a safe bet. I'm kind of surprised they have not done the 7 treatment with 6, because 6 is rated as the best story out of all the Final Fantasy games. And the thing that people tend to poo-poo on 6 is like, oh, there's so many characters, but you actually use the characters, and you actually go through the story. You don't have to have all those characters on you in the end. You still need to have a party of, or 2 parties of 3 or 4 at the end. But I mean, you don't need to have all, I think it's like 16 characters. Because there's always going to be like 3 or 4 that you're not going to play in the final battle. And when we play through, because I am going to play that game, I might do Act Tracer again, because that was a fun game of my childhood that Square Enix, I was amazed that Square brought back out, because that was a game they only did 2 of. And then they did a re-release of Act Tracer recently. And that one was unique, because that wasn't an RPG. That had city building and action game mixture. And I'm curious because they said they've added new cities, they've added new lands, new monsters to fight. But I mean, I played the hell out of that game. I beat that thing multiple times over. So I probably will add Act Tracer to the list soon. The catch there is I need to buy it. for the stream, and that may be a game we add to the list because it's not. I don't think it's too graphically heavy. It's a platform action game with city building elements. Let's add some of the lighter spots on the body. Come on. Okay. I'm amazed that you guys can't see the save come up. You can see my little mouse sort of do the little spindly thing, but you don't see it when it saves, which is weird. Add a couple highlights on the skin. I first known of Actracer by the ending theme original game. Had music similar to the 20th theme from the Force theme from Star Wars. Yeah, I mean, yeah, in the 20th century, it definitely had that sort of Star Wars theme to it, song to it, and I think they probably did that on purpose. I liked the idea that you were playing a demigod that ruled over these people, and that they would pray to you, and they'd be like, "Hey, these monsters are being assholes. Come fix that problem for us." And sometimes the people are just being assholes, and you could punish them. They'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna worship this other demigod over here. We think they're better." And you'd be like, "Screw you, lightning bolt." And then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, we worship you. We worship you." It had sort of that black and white concept, and those who don't know what black and white were, you were a demigod in that game, and I think a game came out in the 2000s, early 2000s. You were a demigod, you ruled over a civilization, and you had a monster that you would unleash upon the people if they decided to be basically assholes to you and not worship you. Because the more powerful you became, the better you could build your civilization, but you needed a monster to kind of keep them in line. And you could play the good god or the evil god, and it helped develop your monsters concept. They literally could go around just beating up people randomly in the streets. It was an amazing concept of a game for a city builder. I think the wings are going to be this dark red, just to add to it. I also got to work those fingers over there. I'm just going to go ahead and make that one dark red there. And then we're going to bring this sort of midway between them. I mean, horror movie wise, there are not too many horror movies I like. I don't like zombie films. And I like the original Night of the Living Dead, the original George Romero film, not the remakes and all that stuff. Because then it just becomes gross and gore. Slasher films, I mean, Freddy Krueger's enjoyable. Mainly because of his smack talk. You got to give it to Freddy. He knew how to smack talk people. Now Jason was humorous in the sense of, how he killed people, but Freddy was the smack talk genius. Which is why when I was glad to see the Freddy versus Jason come up, that I was rooting for Freddy. I knew Jason was going to win, but I was rooting for Freddy. Because Freddy's the smack talk genius, man. Let's make his claws. I think his claws are like dark gray. In the game. Actually, at this point, I can remove the sketch. That's kind of needs to be closer to the dark colors. I didn't care for Saw movies. The first one was enjoyable to a point, but after a certain point, they just got horrible. I did scare myself with Silence of the Lambs. I was a teenager, and there were 2 points that I scared myself with horror. Both of them were because I was dealing with them in storms. One was in a movie, and one was in a book. The horror was Silence of the Lambs. I was watching it in a storm alone, and I had gotten to the escape scene, and the power was blinking on and off. Watch it while I was watching it. I was watching it on videotape, so and the lightning and all that, and I was all alone. I was like, oh crap. So that freaked me out. The other thing that freaked me out was reading Jurassic Park. And it's a boring book for the first part. I have not finished the book. Well, the stalks at the top of the wings are gray. Are they? I don't think it's the wings. I think it's the claws. Let's see here. No, the stalks at the top aren't gray. It's that you're seeing the light there. If we go to the game picture, it's red. The nails are gray. The nails are gray. These are, well, those are gray. The fleshy skin is gray. So that's gray. But yeah, the tips of the stalks aren't gray. We can make the wings look a little bit darker though. And we'll definitely do something with the claws. And I'm going to do some more with her skin tone on her face also. But yeah, I mean, I was reading Jurassic Park. I was bored through most of the beginning because the beginning is the book was trying to explain DNA because it came out in the early 90s when DNA was not a big known thing. It didn't become a big known thing until the OJ case to people. And so the book was explaining DNA and how it works. And it was boring. It was dull through the first part. And then it got to the escape of the T-Rex. And I remember it perfectly. I was at Nag's Head Beach on a summer day reading the book. Well, summer evening. And I was sitting there, and all of a sudden the storm rolled in. Right as I'm at the point where the T-Rex is escaping in the storm. And it scared me so much, I have not finished reading the book. I have never finished reading Jurassic Park. I've got to that point. And that's where the book really gets interesting. I used to be a huge dino fan. Um, I wanted to be an archaeologist because of dinosaurs, not just because of Indiana Jones. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, you liked Indiana Jones." It's like, no, I like dinos, and dinos were cool. The idea of these creepy monster, giant lizard monsters at the time, we didn't know that they were bird like we do now, but the idea that were these giant lizards, as their names were terrible lizards, terrifying the world. Who doesn't love them? And they're cool. They always were cool. All right, let's bring her back up so we can do some of her face. And then we're going to get to where we'll call it for the night. Let's actually use this image and not the not this one. Thank you, Windows. I did not need to see that. Those who didn't know, Windows just wanted to pull up a nice little indication of what it's like outside for me, the weather. Basically, it's telling me the weather, telling me the news. I'm like, I don't need that right now. For those who don't know, it's getting cold. It's fall. It's definitely fall outside. I do like winter. It's one of my favorite seasons, so I don't mind it being cold. But I do mind it being cold in the house. And getting my ass up early to walk a dog in the cold, not the best thing for me, especially since I'm not fully awake at the time. Wait, I'm on the wrong layer here. You want to be on this layer. Actually, let's blend it. Let's do it as a blend instead. All right, so she's going to have a little bit of darkness on her eye. Make the shadow over here. We're going to blend this in to make it sort of mimic her flesh tone a little bit later. We want to kind of... Does she have a chin? Does she have a chin? Not really. Okay. I'll do a little shadow right there. Okay. Now, let's move in closer. That's not working. All right, hold on. Let's go to the blend instead of the blur. Got a smaller brush. blending in the skin tone, making it sort of hide. Aye. Nose is a bit runny from dealing with dog. And cold. Yesterday was absolutely miserable for the walk. I don't think there's a single point I did not come out completely wet and drenched. We had rain come through in our town, and every time I walked the dog, it downpoured. And it just was like, can I get a break at all? And of course, the dog wanted to walk through the mud because, yeah. So I've had to deal with multiple sets of clothes having to be thrown off to be dry and clean. I had to take 2 baths yesterday just to try and warm up because winter is coming. Because here in Virginia, we don't have summer or fall and spring. We just have summer and winter. And winter is coming. We go from a nice 70s to 80s to 40s, 50s. Down into freezing temps as winter goes in deeper. All right. Let's add, I'm going to add a little bit color to the lips. Not much. And I want to do one little touch. Let's see here. I can do this in this spot because that's going to bother me. There we go. Add just a little bit of darkness to the lips. And a little bit of light to it. All right, wrong one. And I think we are good. I think that's good. So that is our Halloween draw. As always, if you have a request, I will be happy to do them. That is the concept of this Dining and Doodles every week. We do these drawings by request. We are currently up to February, I think mid-February to be honest, on the list of requests. If you want to see the full request list, it is on my DeviantArt page, which is DeviantArt/EmbryoArts, or EmbryoArt actually, I think. And you can contact us on social media. We have Patreon page, which is patreon.com/demonblade, not EmbryoArts. It's the one that's not EmbryoArts. Patreon/demonblade. That is based off of our comic series, although we have a new comic series coming out soon. That is going to be a Webtoons exclusive. You've previewed a bit of it today. I will preview it again. It is going to be called Heir to the Stars. It is literally a sci-fi comedy series. It's going to regularly have weekly releases of just a comic strip concept that's going to be a few panels long, and that's it, with jokes going throughout where we go into sci-fi comedy. There is going to be story to it, but it's going to be mostly comedy. I do these drawings every week. I think next week, what do we have for next week? Let me open up the schedule. I'm just going to go. I know next week for our story stream, we're going to be doing 11 Kingdoms. So we're going to be doing that for next week for the story stream. But for the drawing stream, we are doing, let's see here, D6. We're doing a masking request next week. A person's original character to Noxus from Final Fantasy 15. So all that Final Fantasy talk releases into a masking contest. We have another masking request after that, which is actually Damien, yours, I believe. So it's your second request. I know you have a third one also in there, but that's not until January. Yeah, next time we're going to be doing, for you, we're doing Nanaha, disguising as Sailor Moon. So that will be in 2 weeks. Those who are not in the masking stories, the latter half of November through to the beginning of January, we will not be doing masking requests. We'll be doing mostly just general character requests, with the exception of the Christmas drawing, which I will be doing on Christmas Day. I will do a stream on Christmas Day. It will be the 25th, so we will still have a stream on that day, a live stream. What we're going to draw then, I don't know. I haven't decided. But I do thank Damien Tran for their suggestion today of the Valkyrie profile, Jelena transformation twist a bit for our Halloween stream. It's nice to have a little sort of monstrous, creepy factor here for Halloween. We specifically held this one off to be Halloween, which is why Damien has two sort of back-to-back. Just like I've held back a request by Penny Selly 88 here on YouTube, who made a request that's appropriate for Christmas. That one's being held back till December for that reason. No problem, Damien. I'm glad you made a submission. I mean, this show is particularly run by fans. For that reason, we do this. That is the reason we do this. It's to give fans a shout out. Basically, it helps answer all those people that want a request done. I know a lot of people want requests done of comics. I'm not going to do requests of comics. It's too much work. But I mean, this is a way to fill those requests out that people want each year. I know people like to do like me doing the Drawtober. That's been a big draw, and this is a way that sort of carries on throughout the year for people. So that is why we do the Dining and Doodles. For those who are wondering why it's called Dining and Doodles, I do eat during these streams. Today I had, while the stream was going, I'm trying to look up the proper title for it, a London broil roast beef wedge club sandwich from Boar's Head. So it was okay. It was dry. They could use mustard. But I had some drinks with it. I might bring back, I mean, at one point when I was doing these off stream, I was adding cooking recipes that I was doing. I might do cooking recipes again in the future with it, because I am an okay cook. I am not a trained cook. I am not a professional cook in any sense. I've learned from years of practice and years of screw ups. Always eat your screw ups, people. Always eat your screw ups when you're cooking. It helps you learn. uh, but that being said, let's talk about something sweet and something delicious, and that is a wonderful sponsor. Um, Speaking of sort of a Halloween treat, they do have a new mystery bar. Um, Built Bar, my little sponsor that they give me. I don't really. I'll add my signature later, Damien. Uh, I'll do that in a minute. But yeah, Built Bar is a wonderful candy bar replacement. While I am eating some candy, it is Halloween. I've got some Halloween candy in the household, and I am eating it. Built Bar is a good replacement in place of candy at times, and it's because it's low carbs, low calorie, low sugar, high in protein. It is keto friendly, so if you are on keto diet, this is a good replacement for you. But it is also a wonderful replacement for candy bars in general. But they are a protein bar. They also have lots of other things, including drink mixes, uh, soup broth, protein infused broth. Um, I have this boost pack thing that I've got sitting over here, which is basically chocolate syrup in a pouch. Uh, they are absolutely delicious. They do a lot of different things, and right now they have a contest with their mystery bar. As per most places, if you name the mystery and you do things, you can get a lifetime supply. I think that's what it is. I could be wrong. uh, but it is a wonderful, wonderful bar nonetheless. I love the mint chocolate brownie one that we're seeing down there in the bottom. Um, Use the promo code EmbryArts to get 10% off your order. It is a delight. And as always, I want to thank everyone for joining in. I know it's been pretty much me and Damien. We told a few spooky stories. If you also have a story you want read on our live stream on Thursdays, I don't want to do the opening. Let's go back to the drawing. If you have a story that you want on the live streams on Thursdays, please share it. If you have a story that you want read, Thursday we basically just do a reading stream where we'll read through a story. Sometimes it's one of our original series. Like next week will be our original, or it'll be sometimes something that we get off the web or out of a book. We did read the first chapter of Konosuba on one stream, and we have read this week. We did scary stories off the net, so check them out. We did 3 stories. One about a ghost on Facebook who's still chatting with her dead friend, her boyfriend, even though she's been dead. Another one was about a drawing come to life that haunted someone in college. And the first one / last one, was a story about a woman whose sister was eaten by a crocodile, but changed into a crocodile. It's a weird one. And it's one that I apologize if I screwed up the names, because it was definitely a foreign story told in English, but the foreign words were distant. But yeah, absolutely. If you want something drawn, or you want story told, or you just want to comment in chat, we do these streams regularly. We do the gaming streams for pretty much just general audience and to just have some fun. If you have a game to suggest that's willing to be played, or that's easy to play, if we do too much demanding on graphics, it's going to be difficult to stream it. But if you have a simple game that you want us to play, make a suggestion. I'll be happy to put it in the lineup. If I can get it off of Steam, or if there's a emulator that we can set up and run, that'd be great. So as always, I do want to thank you all for joining and having a wonderful time. I hope you all have a wonderful Halloween. Don't eat too much candy to make yourself sick. I am, though, going to turn around and have a Kit Kat bar after this is over because that's all. They were out of Twizzlers and Sour Patch Kids. I love them, but the store was out. Uh, so I'm gonna have myself a Kit Kat bar and enjoy the rest of the evening with some junk, probably off a stream. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful Halloween, and I will see you again